Welcome to my channel, The Narrative Magic.
Big dreams are built one small step at a time. Start today, even if it's just 1% better than yesterday. Let's understand this with an example. It was New Year's Eve, and the city was alive with excitement. Lights sparkled on the streets, music played in the distance, and fireworks lit up the sky. But in a small, quiet apartment, Aisha sat alone, staring at a blank canvas. She loved painting more than anything, but it had been months since she had picked up a brush. Every time she tried to start, she felt stuck. What if it's not good enough? She whispered to herself. As the clock ticked toward midnight, her elderly neighbor, Mr. Rav, stepped onto his balcony next door. He was a kind man, always ready with a smile or a word of advice. Tonight, he noticed the sadness on Asha's face. "You look troubled," he said gently. "I am," Asha replied. "Another year is ending, and I've done nothing with my art. I make big plans every year, but I never follow through." Mr. Rav nodded thoughtfully. "I used to feel the same way. Many years ago, I wanted to run a marathon, but I could barely jog around the block. It felt impossible. Do you know what I did?" "What?" Asha asked, curious. "I stopped thinking about the whole marathon and focused on just one step at a time," he said. "Every day, I aimed to get just 1% better. Maybe I ran an extra few steps or stretched a little longer. Day by day, those small efforts added up." 1% better? Asha frowned. "That doesn't seem like much." "It doesn't," Mr. Rav admitted with a smile. "But over time, it makes all the difference. You don't have to do everything at once, Asha. Just do a little bit every day." He handed her a small notebook. "Write down what you do each day. Even if it's just a small step, it's progress. Try it for a year." The first steps. The next morning, Aisha sat in front of her blank canvas again. This time, instead of worrying about creating a perfect painting, she picked up her pencil and drew a single line. "That's enough for today," she thought, writing it down in the notebook. The next day, she added a few more lines to turn the sketch into a tree. On the third day, she started shading. Each day, she worked for just a little while, and each time, she felt a bit more confident. By the end of the week, she had completed a simple black and white drawing of a tree. It wasn't perfect, but it was something, and it made her smile. The growth. Days turned into weeks, and weeks turned into months. Asha began experimenting with colors, learning new techniques, and watching online tutorials. On some days, she didn't feel like painting, but she reminded herself, just do one small thing. Even a single brush stroke was enough. Slowly but surely, her walls filled with her artwork. Friends and neighbors started noticing her progress. "You're so talented," they said. "Your paintings are amazing." For the first time, Asha started sharing her work online. People loved it, and her confidence grew. The big moment. One evening in November, Asha received a surprising email. A local gallery invited her to showcase her work at their winter art exhibition. Her heart raced. "Me? Show my work in a gallery?" She thought. "I'm not ready." But then she remembered Mr. Rao's advice, just one step at a time. On the night of the exhibition, the gallery was filled with people admiring her paintings. Asha stood nervously in a corner, but when Mr. Rao arrived, he gave her an encouraging nod. When it was time for her to speak, Asha stepped forward. Her voice trembled at first, but then she smiled and said, "At the start of this year, I was scared to even pick up a paintbrush. But someone wise told me about the 1% rule. He said I didn't have to be perfect. I just had to do a little bit every day. And here I am, standing in front of all of you. Because those small steps turned into something big. The audience clapped, and Asha felt tears of happiness welling up in her eyes. The lesson. That night, as Asha sat in her apartment surrounded by her paintings, she thought about how far she had come. She realized something important. Big dreams don't happen all at once. They grow little by little with small steps every day. Success isn't about being perfect. It's about trying and improving, even just a tiny bit at a time. As the city slept, Asha picked up her brush and started her next painting, ready to welcome another year of small, steady steps. Moral of the story. You don't have to make giant leaps to succeed. Even the smallest effort, done consistently, can lead to incredible achievements over time. Thanks for watching.